But what we learn is that you really can only do one thing at a time.
I was talking to someone who was really dealing with some challenges in the workspace and helping her to realize that on the surface, it may be that this person is not operating fairly, but what we do have to understand is that
you got it in this class. So we are so thankful for Dawn, thankful for her time, thankful for her effort in putting all of this together to craft something.
I thought she did a phenomenal job. I feel like this has, again, been one of the more relevant trainings we've had.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Leaders Lounge. I am, of course, Dawn Morris. And this is your time to just kind of refresh and reinvigorate if you're a leader. And even if you are someone who's growing in your professional career, this is your opportunity to kind of listen and get some tips and tools. And today is an amazing one, especially for our new and emerging leaders, because people these days are so conflict averse. We avoid having the necessary conversations to move the dial forward. We can hide behind texts, behind email, or just avoid having the discussions all the way around. And by not taking the moment to have the necessary conversation, you are potentially giving way to three negative things that can either affect you or affect the organization. I'm going to talk about those three right quickly. The first one is by not having the conflict conversation, you as a leader could be unconsciously submitting the organization to the possibility of an escalated event taking place. So what do I mean by that? Something can happen that one of your team members may do incorrectly. I'm just going to go to the retail space because I spent so much time in that arena. And you may see, for instance, if there's an inventory concern, that person had not counted the inventory correctly, and it's off by, let's say, 20 out of 2,000, right? You notice that there was a miscount. You never address that because, Johnny is somebody who always flies off the handle when I talk to them, right? Is your thought. And it's just 20. So we're 1,980 is what he counted. We have 2,000 of them. All right, I just made the adjustment. We're moving on. You never talk to Johnny about it. The next time it comes up, Johnny is now short 500 units. So now that small concern has been exacerbated because you never had the conversation with Johnny because you believed that by having a conversation with them or him, that it would lead to some type of escalated situation. Well, guess what? It got escalated anyway because you failed to address it. So the first thing that you want to avoid is having escalations unnecessarily because you failed to have a conflict discussion. The second thing that it can do for you as a leader in a negative sense is it can create, believe it or not, internal body ailments. You can get ulcers. You can get headaches. You can have even high blood pressure. It can even lead to a stroke because you have not taken a moment to address concerns when they happen. So by failing to have conflict discussions, and I will say, before you have the conflict discussion, you do want to take a moment, gather your thoughts, make sure that you are self-aware and you are able to self-regulate as you have the discussion so that it can be fruitful. and you were able to stay on target with the facts, not your opinion, the facts. So, yes, you want to go through those steps, but you don't want to delay because, again, it can create internal ailments for you. So, you want to get it off of you, as they say, as soon as possible. Because as you get it off of you, you can move forward, the team can move forward, and the whole can end up being greater than the sum of its parts. So that's the second reason that you do not want to avoid having conflict discussions. The third thing that, the third reason that you want to ensure that you do not avoid having conflict discussions is that the organization can actually become better by you going ahead and addressing conflicts. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, suppose, let's go back to our first example with Johnny with the miscount, right? So if Johnny has a miscount, you have a discussion with Johnny, and there's either a misunderstanding for how you should count, or Johnny even sees a better, more efficient way by you having that discussion. Then the whole organization gets better because you've talked about it. By having conflict discussions, it actually can lead to a greater organization. And we should not always think about conflict as argument, because conflict is simply a disparity in thought, in process, or in a procedure. I think I said that right. Process, thought. It's actually not procedure. There's a third one that I'm missing right now. But it's simply a disparity. I believe one thing, you believe another thing. I believe this person should do one thing. You believe this person should do another thing. I believe the process should go this way. You believe the process should go another way. So all it is that there is a some type of disconnect between thought, process, and I believe it's I can't remember the third thing, but there's that disparity, and we're talking about places, people, or things. Those are the three areas where you may have conflict. So just because I have a conflict doesn't mean we have to have an argument. Because we have a conflict, we need to come up with a way to align so that this crookedness or this disparity now becomes leveled. That's what we're doing when we are having conflict discussions. And I'm going to talk in another one about how to have that discussion, because some people think that the discussion has to reside in email or, again, text. And that's not the way you have a conflict resolution discussion. Because what did I say? Discussion, which means you should talk about it. And we're going to talk about how people kind of get stuck into that written world and that texting world and all of that, and how it does not lend itself well to building good work and life relationships. So those are my top three for why you need to go ahead and have that conflict discussion. Number one, you want to avoid an escalated situation. Number two, you want to maintain your own physical health, because it can create health ailments if you don't address conflict. And number three, the whole of the organization can become greater because the lens is broadened by you having a conversation between what your thought was, what that person's thought was, what their procedure was, and what the actual procedure either should be or could be when you are growing in a company. So I hope this is helpful. Make sure that you share this if it is. Make sure that you also get our book, Unpacking Agape, the 7 Languages of Intentional Leadership. It is available at worldclasstraining.net/agape. And until next time, always, always, always remember that when you are better, we are absolutely better. Take care.